Kabuga, coming to you live from Wakariga. This is just 20 minutes to the of 9 a.m. I'm here at the home of the Lord Mayor of Kampala, Salongo Elias Lukwago. He is also a lawyer, has been an MP before, but also the Vice President of FDC in charge of Central Uganda, Uganda region. We are going to be speaking about the issues concerning you, the Kampala dweller, the business person, you who works and wants to see a city that you should be proud of. Let's begin with the issues concerning the infrastructure development, because we know that many of you have been crying over the city. It's in a mess, from the roads to the markets and everything. But want to understand from the Lord Mayor, because is anyway the chief political spirit of the city. Good morning to you, Lord Mayor. Good
morning, my brother. Good morning, the viewers.
Thank you, and thank you for welcoming me into your home. Let's begin with what's happening, has been happening in your circles as T-Hall. Last week we saw the chaos that erupted within the council, that you supposed to be, there's supposed to be order within the council when you are sitting. This is all concerning the roads. What the fuss is happening around our roads, because people want to have a better city, but we see what we see now is not desired.
Well, I would request the people of Kampala and Ugandans at large to have keen interest in what is happening at KCCA and the issues we are highlighting, because they are really pertinent and they concern you. We are talking about a loan which was secured from ADB, totaling to US dollar 288 million.
2016.
Yeah, 2016. And this was intended to improve the infrastructure in Kampala. You realize the infrastructure is rotten. And it came on the heels of other projects which had really not performed well, and against the background that the government of Uganda had failed to inject adequate funds into the infrastructure development in Kampala. Because currently we are getting 26 billion in road maintenance from central government, Uganda Road Fund. And we realize that is not feasible, that's not sustainable rather, because we have a total road network of 2,110 kilometers, and it's only 30% which is paved, roughly 645.
Not even 7.
Not even 50%. And that's quite appalling. It's a dire situation. And
how much would be needed?
How much would be needed is quite a lot of money. I don't want to venture into that at this material time, because we are just beginning from the scratch. And I said, we all built a consensus and said, okay, let's go into borrowing. We started with World Bank, where we got close sums of money. We developed a specialized program, KIDIP, Kampala Institution and Infrastructure Development Project. It was segmented in 2 phases. The first phase, KIDIP 1, KIDIP 2. And KIDIP 2, we secured 183 million US dollars. And we lined up a number of roads to be upgraded to tarmac, to bitumen. And eventually, we rolled out the program. Unfortunately, again, that project was messed up. 2, we also said, okay, let's borrow money from Japan, under JICA. And that would help us to have the infrastructure also improved in Kampala, specifically for junction improvement and also flyovers. The flyover project you see right now, thanks to JICA funds, is our brainchild. We came up with the same. That is another matter we shall discuss on another occasion. Then we also got money from ADB now, before I come to the other projects. So we decided and said, please, we need to make massive investment in infrastructure transformation if we are to lift the face of Kampala, if we are to improve on the face of Kampala.
That you did?
That we did. We got the money. Now,
when you get the money, the Kampala dweller is asking, you are talking about the money from JICA, from ADB, from World Bank, but where are the services?
Now this is where we are now. the Ugandan problem of scavengers feasting on this money. And this is where now the problem is. And that explains the fracas you are seeing at KCCA. We are insisting on value for money. We are insisting on accountability. We are insisting on proper utilization of these loans.
You know, Lord Mayor, even before you ask for value for money, you are known for rule of land accountability. But we want to see that there is work on the ground that is more. But from 2016 up to now, you don't see work on the ground. Nothing to be shown.
Exactly. This is what I'm explaining. The reason why we are not seeing work in progress as far as ADB loan is concerned, it's because of the scavengers I'm talking about. The people who have turned this project into a cash bonanza. The people who are just feasting on it. This is where the problem is. If I can break it down briefly. One,
who are those ones we're talking about? Because you keep square-cutting it, scavengers. Who are those ones? So that we know the problems rise here and there.
Of course, you have heard the state minister for Kampala, Kyoffa Togabye. He's the spokesperson for those scavengers. He has come out time and again to malign us, to attack us, to do this. And he's shielding every other person we are trying to probe. Because we have the oversight mandate as KCCA leadership, as the elected leadership. What part of our duty is to oversee what the technical do, is to scrutinize all these issues we're talking about. That's part of our mandate. Now he's standing in our way. He's shielding the people who are supposed to account to us. And he's using all sorts of derogatory terms to attack us, to malign us.
The person you're talking about is also on record saying that you are the problem of Kampala. He's also on record saying that you also don't have the mandate of asking what the technical side is doing, because they also give you money as the mayor to work on other duties, but also travel around, and they don't ask how you spend the money.
You see, I wouldn't want to venture again into to descend. Actually, I wouldn't want to descend into those petty issues which is trying to raise, to divert us from the main serious issues, and that's where personally I don't want to be diverted, because that's where you want to drag us. The issue is, where are the contracts? Where are the bills of quantities? The loan we are talking about right now is $288 million US. It has not been performing since 2016. Actually, it even called for the intervention of the funders themselves, the ADB. It called for the intervention of the IGG. It has now called for the intervention of Parliament, COSASE. You've seen what Senyonyi is doing and the team. There is a committee of infrastructure. They are also probing the same. That tells you that there is a problem.
I also understand that World Bank also withheld some money that was supposed to be given to you.
Even at some stage, ADB had to freeze this particular money. They had to stop the project. They were almost cancelling it. World Bank is almost withdrawing because of issues of accountability. We were supposed to have KIDIP 3. I've mentioned KIDIP 1. I've mentioned the KIDIP 2. But because these two projects have turned out to be a debacle, they are saying, we may consider pulling out. That is World Bank. We're supposed to have many of these, because you're talking about incessant floods in Kampala. And we're supposed to finance the reconstruction of many of these drainage channels, because we have the Kampala Drainage Master Plan.
Where people are losing their lives.
Certainly. And it's very, very unfortunate. People dying, people drowning in drainage channels in the 21st century.
Uncovered manholes.
Exactly. So they said, okay, they were supposed to actually finance the construction of Narukorongo Channel, the reconstruction of Nachivo Channel, Mayanja, Rubiji, and a couple of others. But they started with the two. It was more or less like a pilot. They started with the two, Nakamiro and Rubiji. Rubiji is just 2.5 kilometers. They have spent a whooping sum of 60 billion Uganda shillings. And the World Bank said, this is terrible.
You know,
two, Nakamiro is just, it's a secondary channel, Nakamiro. It's not even a primary drainage channel, no, secondary. And they have spent 20 billion Uganda shillings. So in all these roads we are talking about, the cost per unit is ranging between 10 to 15 billion Uganda shillings.
wow.
10 to 15 billion Uganda shillings. Compared to other cities like you have been to Addis Ababa, they have a robust infrastructure, but they have spent very little money. Not to the tune we are spending here. In Nairobi, it's just like $1 million US. Kigali, roughly 800,000 US dollars. So it's just like that. It's not, it doesn't go beyond 1 million, 1.5, but here we are.
Could the problem also be political within the case council or KCCA and without, outside council? I'm talking about you having political interference from outside the KCCA, but also within KCCA that maybe spirals beyond. The
problem emanating from, you said from
within KCCA and outside KCCA, being political than technical.
I don't know what you call political.
This is what I'm talking about. You move out of Kampala, you go to Kampala Mbale, Kampala Gulu, Kampala Kabale. The roads, the infrastructure there, you see the roads are paved, well paved, better widened. But when
at what cost? Maybe outside the Kampala people are not vigilant. Maybe. You can ask the local governments that side, or even those who are supposed to oversee the works and are superintended over by UNRWA. Maybe they are not that vigilant in scrutinizing what these people are doing. And for us, we said no.
You know, when you keep a keen eye on what's happening within the technical side, someone is wondering, the mayor is in his first term, what he calls the first term. Some are saying it is
well, term. You can call it second term.
And some are saying that, you know what, aren't we slowly moving back to the times of the then Executive Director Jennifer Musi, when we could see the squabbles with Frank Tumweba's when he was the minister. Now we have Christopher Chofatogabye. You had squabbles with Frank Tumweba's. You had with then Executive Director Jennifer Musi. Now we're slowly seeing the same things happening. What you were asking for then is what you're asking for now.
But I've always told you the constant has always been Yoweri Kaguta Museveni. That is the constant. And I've always explained, if you want me to go as far as digging where the root problem is.
Yes, that's why I want you to go.
If we were to move that direction, I will tell you, we have a family rule in this country, which has hijacked this.
Not the executive?
Not the executive. Most of these institutions you see here are under captivity. They have been hijacked by the family rule. If you want me to go there, and I've told you there are cartels in Kampala here and cartels in the central government. And most of these funds are siphoned off. They use these agencies as conduits. Money comes, but you ask now, there is a huge hemorrhage of resources from these agencies. And this is not peculiar to KCCA, by the way. It cuts across. It goes even to, it's pervasive in all these agencies of government. So it's only that for us we are vigilant, we are steadfast, we are aggressive, we always put our eye on what is going on and keep you updated, and we furnish you with all this information. And you should give credit to us that at least we come out and tell you there is a problem here. Your money is being taken away. So it's not only the cartels in Kampala that are enriching themselves from your funds. No, this money is shared.
Talking about the money and the keen eye, the accountability, I also want to pick your mind on the issue of the markets. Because I understand the markets bill was passed last week in Parliament, but still the vendor is saying that, look, the management and the regulation of these markets, there's something that still needs to be focused on. As the Lord Mayor, what is your view about the recently passed markets bill that was also reintroduced in Parliament?
We have a huge problem in management of public markets. Partly it's attributed to the archaic legal regime, because we have a 1942 law which has been used to manage these markets, and it's out of touch with modernity, and it had been a problem in itself in the way we are struggling to streamline the management and administration of these markets. So we thought the government would come up with the initiatives of properly realigning this market to the new to the new dynamics we have in the country. Unfortunately, when the law was passed, General Kaguta Museveni had his own reservation. He had to return it back to Parliament. Never mind that actually Cabinet failed to initiate the bill. This was an initiative of a private member, a workers MP. Yes, Margaret Rabshaija, and it was passed way back in February 2022. It took a year for General Kaguta Museveni to even consider assenting to it. And after a year, he said, I'm not too comfortable with the provision that gives powers to the vendors in these markets to have a say in the management and administration of the same, which I find quite really disturbing, because these are facilities meant to cater for the urban poor. And the urban poor are supposed to have a say in the way their affairs are managed, and you are saying they should be kept out. We have had this problem of KCCA directly managing these facilities, messing them up, allocating, can you imagine, stores and lockups are being allocated to tycoons, political leaders within the central government, and even the technical people within the KCCA. So that problem is going to worsen now that you are throwing out the vendors from the management of this market. For us, we wanted the system which guarantees checks and balances.